Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice complete walkthrough. And this is episode 12, which I have named Shura and Beyond, because we have gotten to the point in this game where it's time to make a choice. We have two alternatives. One of them is gonna push us into one of the endings, so the last two boss fights for that ending, and one of them is gonna lead to a boss fight and the continuation of the game to the three true endings, so to speak. But before we move on, make sure to quit out of the game and upload your save file to PlayStation Plus. If you're playing this game on PC, you can copy the folder containing your save file so you can overwrite it later so we can get back to this place. If you're playing on Xbox though, sadly there is no way to back up your save file as far as I know. You're gonna have to play through the game 4 times to get all endings. But now we're getting up to Owl, and also make sure to equip the Ichimonji double and whatever healing items you have on you to use in these upcoming fights. And we are first gonna choose to obey the Iron Code. This is for the Shura ending, and we will face off against Emma and Ishin. And Emma has a few perilous attacks. She has the jumping thrust, which you can sidestep and punish with Ichimonji double. You can also use Mikiri counter on it. And she has a normal thrust, which we just punish with Mikiri and follow up with a double Ichimonji. That is something we're gonna use a lot throughout this fight. And she has a grab. Whenever she does this, jump straight back once at least, and immediately go into punish. And she also has a perilous sweep, and as always we just jump and stomp on her head and do 2 swipes. And she has the Ashina cross combat art. When you see her do that, jump back twice. That is super important because it has a really long reach. So if you just jump back once, you will run a great risk of getting caught up in it, and then things are gonna be terrible for you. And Emma is basically the practice boss for Ishin Ashina that we're gonna face off after we take her down. So it can be a really good idea to practice Emma until you have this fight down. In a perfect scenario, you will be able to take her down without healing once or taking any damage. But if you need to heal, try to heal just once. Because Ishin, as I said, he is a beefed up version, but he is also quite unique. He does have some unique attacks, but he is more dangerous than she is. But this fight is all about finding the rhythm, and whenever she does a thrust, we just punish it. But he does have a lot of similar attacks, but he also has a few that are unique to him. He does have an elbow smash, which leads into a thrust, which you just punish with Mikiri and Ichimonji double. He also has a double sweep, which you can just walk around actually. And punish him from behind. If he does it in phase 1, use Ichimonji double. In phase 2, we are gonna switch to the mortal draw instead. In phase 2, he also gets these fire attacks. An Ichimonji followed by a sweep, which we just dodge around. He has this one where he arcs his back backwards, and he does a flame throw forward, just jump to the side. And he has this, which I call the Inferno. He makes all these little fires blaze, and if you get caught in them, you take a substantial amount of fire damage. And then he follows it up with the combat skill called One Mind. If you still have spirit emblems, I recommend just sit down at an area which isn't on fire and activate the umbrella, because then you can just tank the entire combat art. But if you do this correctly, which I actually didn't do during my recording, but if you do phase 2 correctly, you will more or less bypass the entire phase. I'm gonna tell you what I did wrong so you can do it correctly, and will make it a lot easier than it can possibly be. And one thing you need to be aware of when it comes to Ishin: if he is, so to speak, passive, he is not aggressive towards you, and you do a swing, he is programmed to sidestep that like he did there and instantly counter-attack. No matter what attack you do, you cannot hit him. Before I realized that, it happened to me that I did a mortal draw and I saw the blade go straight through his body. And I was so pissed because I thought there was something wrong with his hitbox. But then I went into the official wiki, and that's where I found out that he is programmed, even though sometimes you may not see the animation because you do the mortal draw, but he cannot be hit. So I like to let him come to me. And you can treat this fight a lot like the fight against Genichiro, where you just do it or you turn it into a fencing competition, where you parry his attack and you hit back and you have just a lovely clash of blades. But I like to do these small attacks, and whenever he does his double Ichimonji, instantly dodge in behind him and punish him with one of your own. That is the absolute best combat skill you can use here in phase 1. Because in phase 2 we are gonna switch that out for the mortal draw, and then we're gonna use our firecrackers. Do not use any spirit emblem based attacks or any prosthetic tools against Emma or Ishin in phase 1. Because as I said, if you do your preparations for phase 2 correctly, you will be able to stun lock him. I'm not sure if you can stun lock him so you negate the entire phase on your new game run, or if you have to have 20 spirit emblems to do so. But one way of having 20 spirit emblems coming in here is that if you go back to the cave where we faced off against the headless guardian ape and his wife, now there will be a Chichimen warrior there, and you can take him down using, you need to buff your sword with divine confetti. But he drops an item called the ceremonial tanto, which will allow you to drain some of your health and switch that out for spirit emblems. But as soon as phase 1 is over, first thing you want to do is switch your combat art for mortal draw, and then buff with Yashirikus or Akos if you want to play it safer. I did it the other way around, which put me back in the game for a split second, which threw my timing off here. Because you saw him kind of bump into me, which made me stagger a little bit, so I missed with the mortal draw. But if you don't make the same mistake as I did, and if you get all 3 hits, I even think that is true for new game, then you will build up his posture bar to max, so you can instantly go into a death blow if you manage to hit him all 3 times. It can be done a bit easier if you go back to the sculptor and upgrade your firecrackers into the long spark version, because then the firecrackers will burn for longer or explode for longer, whatever you say in English, which will give you a slightly bigger window. And you want to make sure that your mortal draw makes contact both swings every time, and instantly follow it up with another firecracker so you stun him again. But if you do the same mistake as I do, or you don't manage to take him down all the way, that's why I buffed with Yashiriku's, because that makes you do 25% extra damage instead of Akko's 12.5. Then phase 2 is a lot similar, or is very similar to phase 1. The only real difference is that I think he becomes a little bit more aggressive here, and he also gets those fire attacks. But the only fire attack you actually have to watch out for is this one, the Inferno attack. You saw there that I got caught in flames, almost got killed even. And I could have tanked that with the umbrella, because if you do the firecracker mortal draw thing, you will still have one spirit emblem left. So you can tank his one mind attack once at least. But I made it work, and so will you. If you don't repeat my mistake, you should hopefully never ever have to take him on the same way I did in phase 2. But after the fight is over, you will go into a cutscene, the credits will start to roll, and make sure to not quit out of the game and download your save file again until you have gotten the Shura trophy or achievement if you're playing on PC. And as I said earlier, if you're playing on Xbox One, skip this step. Instead go for the second choice, which I will show you coming up now. Because as I said, there is no way of backing up your save file on Xbox. I don't know why Microsoft did it that way. I have an Xbox, but I rarely play on it. And also going into the second choice, make sure to equip any healing items you want to use. Make sure to put them in your quick inventory, and it doesn't matter if you have any prosthetic tools or not, because we are not gonna use them in this fight. But once again, we go up and talk to Owl and make sure to have the mortal draw equipped, because that's what we're gonna use to punish this boss. And he doesn't have any perilous attacks, which makes him unique in that sense. But he does have a few things to watch out for. He has a kick where he flips off you and throws shurikens. In phase 2, he will throw poison instead of shurikens. And then he has this attacks where he throws 2 shurikens and does a front flip. As soon as you see his face when he flips forward when he's almost down, make sure to dodge forward and do a mortal draw. That is gonna be our main means of punishing him in this fight. You see right there. Because I have said this time and time again, and the mortal draw is a devastating attack. And I think it's a bit weird, since Owl, the great shinobi, is the adoptive father of Sekiro. And he doesn't have any perilous attacks when you face off against him here. It's one of those super weird things. You would expect him to at least have a sweep or something. But you can go in this fight and do 1 or 2 swings at him from time to time in between his attacks. But I like to take on a really passive approach, because I know that I can punish that front flip. And that little grenade you saw him throw there, that does not hurt you if you get caught up in it. What it does is that it blocks you from healing for, I can't remember if it's 30 seconds or a minute. I will put in a text prompt right now, which shows you how long it blocks your healing items. And it may only be 30 seconds, but it can feel like an eternity. Because when he manages to hit you, he is not super quick. He is an old man after all, even though he may be a shinobi. But when he manages to hit you, if you don't block perfectly, or if you just mistime your block for some reason, he does pack a punch. You see his arms, they are quite massive. And at the beginning of phase 2, you saw him slam down there on all fours. Sometimes he will do that, sometimes he will not, sometimes he will just go into phase 2 and the fight will continue. It doesn't really matter if he does that, it does not hurt you in any way, it's just annoying when he does it. And now he gets the poison throw. The most annoying thing about the poison throw he does is that poison lingers on the floor forever, it feels like. It's only there for maybe like 10 seconds or something, but if you get caught up in it, the poison buildup of it is really fast. Also, something that healing block grenade is actually your best chance to heal in this fight. And he usually follows up the poison throw with the double shuriken leading into the flip. And while we're on the subject of the flip, I want to talk about something. This may just very well be my imagination, something that I've gotten hung up on, so it may not be true, but it feels like it's correct. Whenever you want to dodge forward when he does the double shuriken leading into the flip, I tried to dodge to his left, my right. I didn't do it that time and I got punished for it. Because this is my theory about the flip attack. And this might be completely wrong, but since this is quite a long fight, I can theorize a little bit. Because I think that the hitbox, if you try to dodge to your left, which means Owl's right, I think the hitbox is bigger on that side. It might just be that I'm used to dodging to the right, so I mistimed it. But since Owl, just like Sekiro, is right-handed, his right hand is the dominant one, he holds his sword in the right one. I think that maybe the sword is just a little further to the right. And this could be completely wrong. But in my experience, I have much more success trying to dodge to the right than to the left. And I recommend you do the same. It might just be that I'm used to doing it that way. But it would be kinda cool actually if my theory is correct. Because From Software has an amazing attention to details. So it wouldn't surprise me if it actually is correct. But as you can see, as I said, I take a very passive approach in this fight. Because he can be very dangerous. He also has this smoke grenade bullshit that he likes to pull out. When he throws the smoke grenade, which you have probably already seen in this fight, he usually follows that up with either a healing block grenade or that big sweep. So when he throws the smoke grenade, stand still, aim lock on him again and just do a quick read what he's gonna do. If he throws the grenade, I like to jump back. You can also dodge forward and swing at him, but I would advise against it. It's better to just play it cool. Let the fight take the time it takes. Don't rush this. I've said this before, that greed gets you killed in this game. Well, that is really true for this guy, because he is harder than he might look. Even though he's not super quick, he can put a really quick end to you if you're not careful. Like you see right there, I actually died once, but of course we have a resurrect, so we can continue the fight. And also one thing, before this fight is over, I want to talk about the fact that you may have noticed that I am constantly moving. Because I want to try to keep this fight in the middle of the arena. You saw me get caught behind one of the doors there for a little bit. That can also put a really quick end to this fight. So always try to keep it as centered as possible. You want to make sure you can flee in any direction should you feel the need. And the ironic part also about the healing block grenade is that is actually your best opportunity to heal in this fight. Because he does have like 1 or 2 seconds, you have time to jump back, and if you immediately heal when you land, he will not be able to do a punishing attack before you have pulled the heal off. So you can just block whichever attacks he tries to do afterwards. And now of course he managed to block me. But that's right, my mistake. It blocks your healing gourd, but I think you can still use rice. I think it might just be the healing gourd that it blocks out. But I think it's time to end this fight. He did a mistake of doing the front flips, so we do a mortal draw and we end the great shinobi owl and become guilty of patricide. As I said, he is the adoptive father of Sekiro. And the owl drops, of course, a memory, and it also drops the aromatic branch, which is a key item that we are gonna use to unlock one of the 2 hidden endings in this game. I've said that there are 4 endings in total. 2 of them are hidden. We have started the rice quest for one of the 2 hidden ones, and I think in the next episode we are gonna use the aromatic branch to start to unlock the 2nd hidden ending. But I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.